There are two versions of your future self sitting down somewhere right now. One of them got everything that she ever wanted. She got the life, the success, the version of herself that she used to only say in her head. She's living in it right now. She is it. While the other one is still waiting. She's still saying, oh, maybe one day. She's still watching other people live the thing that she has spent years imagining. And the only thing that is separating those women is what you decide to do today. Not what you decide to do tomorrow, not when things calm down, not when you feel more ready or more inspired or more certain. Today. Hi, my name is Blossom and I'm here to make sure that you never settle for a life that is less than the life that you deserve. Today we're going to be talking about the three-part formula that I genuinely believe is the difference between people who get what they want out of life and people who spend their whole life admiring people who do. Visualize it, want it obsessively, work at it every single day like your future self is depending on you because she is. This video is personal. This is me telling you exactly how I'm living this right now, not from the other side of the wind, but me in the middle of the grind, in the process of it. Now let's get into it. Chapter 1. Let me start by addressing the eye roll. I can already feel some of you doing an eye roll at the word visualization. I know it sounds like something that belongs on a manifestation account between a quote about alignment and a photo of someone journaling in, some cute aesthetic outfits. But you need to stay with me because the science on this is genuinely wild. Your brain does not fully distinguish between widely imagined experience and real experience. Neurologically, when you visualize doing something with enough detail and emotion, many of the same neural pathways that fire as when you actually do the thing also fire. There is a famous experiment where people who mentally rehearse playing piano skills, they showed almost technical and identical neural development to people who physically practice them. Almost identical. This is why elite athletes have used visualization as a core training tool for decades. It's why Olympic coaches, they build mental rehearsals into their programs. It is not mystical, it is neurology. So when I tell you to make the vision board, to put the images on your Pinterest, to watch the TikToks about the life that you're building, let the vision run through your head every single day. I am not telling you to daydream instead of doing the work. I am telling you that the visualization is part of the work. It is training your brain to recognize your goal as achievable, as real, as yours. It is priming your reticular activating system, which is the part of your brain that filters what you notice, to start seeing opportunities, to start seeing resources and pathways that align with what you're focused on. What you consistently imagine, your brain starts to work towards it. That is not magic. That is how brains function. I remember when I was working on my body and I was trying to look and feel better, I kept seeing a version of me over and over that looked the way I wanted to look. Not an obsessive, unhealthy way. I eventually had to center the goal around health rather than just aesthetics, and of course that shift mattered. But the consistent version of who I was becoming kept me moving towards her, even on the days when I didn't feel like it, because she felt real. She felt like something I was walking toward, not just wishing for. Visualize the life, see it clearly, make it vivid, make it frequent. Chapter 2. This is the part that nobody says out loud because it feels socially uncomfortable to admit how badly you want something. We have been taught, yes, we have, especially as human beings, to be casual about our ambitions, to want things quietly, to not seem too eager, too hungry, too obvious about our desires, because that somehow makes us look desperate or naive, or like we're setting ourselves up to be laughed at if it doesn't work out. I am here to completely dismantle that. Want it bad. Want it so bad that the person that is standing next to you looks at you and quietly questions if they even want their own thing as much as you want yours. Want it so bad that people ask you why. Want it so bad that it makes them slightly uncomfortable. Want it so bad that it lives in your chest like a second heartbeat, because this is what lukewarm desire produces. Lukewarm effort. And you know what lukewarm effort produces? Lukewarm results. or no results, because the gap between the kind of life that you want and I will build my life around getting this is the gap between a life that happens to you and a life that you construct deliberately. Now, the other side, because I promise you that I always give you both sides. Obsession without direction is just anxiety, wanting something so desperately that you cannot function, you cannot enjoy any present moment, you cannot acknowledge any win that isn't the ultimate goal. That is not ambition, that is suffering that you are trying to make look as drive. And I've been there too. There's a version of wanting it bad that tips into compulsion, into comparison, into a constant low grade panic that you're not doing enough, that you're not moving fast enough, that you're not close enough yet. That version burns you out before you ever get there. The healthy obsession looks like you want it fiercely and you show up for your goals, for today's work, without needing today's work to feel like proof that you are winning. The desire is the fuel, the daily action is the vehicle, the present moment is where you actually live. You hold all three at once. Want it fully, want it unapologetically, and let that wanting be the engine, not the cage. Chapter 3. I want to get real with you here because I think that personal testimony matters more than theory. Ever since I knew clearly, specifically, and vividly knew that I wanted to be a successful content creator, I have been going at it and working at it every single day for nearly 2 years now, every freaking day. The only day I do not work is on Sunday because rest culture is real to me and I take it very seriously. And I've talked about that before. Your rest is not laziness, it is part of the system. But every other day I am on it, even when the numbers are discouraging, which is most days, even when the viewers are not what I hoped, even when I film something and it doesn't land the way that I thought it would land, even when I look at where I am versus where I want to be, and I feel like the gap is much and I feel that gap as a physical weight in my chest. I have my vision board, I have the images, I see my Pinterest, I have the TikTok save. I know exactly what I'm working towards, not vaguely but specifically. I can see it, and because I can see it, I can work towards it with my whole self. And that consistency, that daily unglamorous, nobody is watching, do it anyway consistency is not something that I am doing because it is always fun. I'm doing it because I made a promise to my future self the day I decided I wanted this, and I refuse to be the person who breaks that promise. If you want something you have wanted for a while, the question is not whether you deserve it. You definitely do. The question is, have you been working towards it like you actually believe that you deserve it? Now, let's go to chapter 4. And this is my favorite part. This is the part that separates people who get there and, feel shocked from people who get there and they feel like, yeah, of course, I deserve this. Work so hard at it that when it finally comes, and it will come, you are not even surprised because you knew that you built it. You put in the days, you showed up when it wasn't exciting, you did the work that nobody saw. You already knew what was coming because you had been constructing it brick by brick with your own hands. This is the most powerful, the most unshakable relationship that you can have with your own success, when it is undeniably, unmistakably yours. Not luck, not timing, not someone else's decision. Yours, built by you, earned by you. And something else is that when people around you see you get it, they won't question it because they saw you working. Maybe they didn't understand it, maybe they didn't understand you, maybe they didn't understand why you were so obsessed, maybe they thought that you were doing too much. But when the win arrives, they will look back at all the times that you chose the work over the comfort, and to make complete sense to them, that is not for them, that is for you. There is a specific kind of quiet dignity in a win that was witnessed in its making. And if they didn't see you working, they will wonder how you did it. They will speculate. They will create a whole narrative around your success that has nothing to do with reality. Because the human brain would rather invent a shortcut story than accept that someone else simply outworked them. Let them wonder. You will know. Let's go to chapter 5. I want to end this chapter with something that lives in my head constantly, and I think it needs to live in your head too. There are two realities for your future self. In one reality, you worked hard today, you visualized, you stayed obsessed with the goal, you did the uncomfortable thing, you showed up even when the results were not there yet, and your future self is living inside everything that you built. In the other reality, you didn't. You meant to, you thought about it, you had all the desire and none of the daily action, and your future self is living with the weight of that. The quiet, heavy knowledge of what could have been if you had just kept going. Both futures are being written right now in the choices that you make today, in whether you open the laptop or you close it, in whether you do the thing or you scroll past it for another hour. Your future self cannot come back and make today's choices for you. She is fully dependent on what you decide right now, on what you are deciding right now. So the question is, what are you deciding right now? Now let's go to chapter 6, which is actionable step-by-step process. And here is my specific actionable step for everything I have said so far. Step 1. Get brutally specific about what you actually want. Success is not a vision. A thriving business that does X gives me Y freedom and allows me to Z. That is a vision. The more specific your desire, the more your brain can orient towards it. So write it down in full, in embarrassing specific detail. What does the life that you want look like? What does it feel like? What are you doing on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. in that life? You need to get very granular about it. Then step 2, build your visual environment. Create the vision board. Physical, digital, both if you want. Create your Pinterest, save the TikToks that show you the life that you are building. Put the images somewhere that you can see them daily. It is not a decoration, it is neurological priming. You are training your brain's attention systems to filter towards your goal. So do this very, very deliberately. Step 3, spend 5 minutes every morning with vision. Before you check your phone, before you open social media, for 5 minutes, either look at your vision board or journal about the life you are building, or simply sit with a mental image of where you are going. I don't see this as wasted time. I see this as setting the direction for your entire day. Step 4, define your daily non-negotiable. What is the one thing, the minimum viable action that you will do towards your goal every single day, no matter what? Not a list of 20 things, one thing. The thing that if you do nothing else, it moves the needle. Identify it, protect it, do it even on the hard days, even on the exhausted days, even when the results are not visible yet. Step 5, honor your rest and protect it. One day a week, genuinely rest. Don't feel guilt reading that day, or be half walking with your phone in hand and call it rest. Really rest, because sustainable obsession usually requires recovery. The goal is not to burn yourself to the ground in a blaze of productivity. The goal is to be standing still, to be still building 5 years from now. Rest is not the enemy of work, it is what makes the work sustainable. Step 6, track the days, not just the results. Results lag behind effort, sometimes significantly. So when you are waiting for the results to catch up, track the days, mark every day that you showed up, build the streak, because the streak is its own evidence that you are someone who does what she says she's going to do. And that identity, which is a woman who shows up for herself daily, is worth more than any single result. Step 7, make the promise and make sure you freaking keep it. Right now, today, make a promise to your future self and be very specific about it. Say it out loud if you can. I am going to work towards X every day because my future self deserves to live in that reality. And then keep it. Not because it is always easy, and also not because it always feels good, but because the version of you that is waiting on the other side of the work deserves a self, a past self who took herself very seriously. That past self is the current you. In conclusion, I want you to close this video and go and do the thing. Not eventually. Now, today, one step towards the life that you have been visualizing. Because the version of you that you keep seeing in your head, on your vision board, in your Pinterest saves, in the quiet moments before you fall asleep, when you let yourself imagine it fully. She is not a fantasy, she is a forecast. She is what happens when the woman that is watching this right now decides that her desires are worth fighting for every day. without an audience, without guaranteed results, without knowing exactly when it is going to pay off. Visualize it, want it so bad that it is almost uncomfortable, and then work so hard at it every single day that when it finally arrives and you know it will, you will look at it and you will think, I knew. I always know. Because you built it with your own hands on all the ordinary days that nobody saw. Go and do the thing. Because your future self is waiting, and I will see you in my next video. Drop it in the comments for me. What is that one thing that you're going to work on every single day starting today? Say it out loud in the comments, make it real, and share this with a girl that you know who needs to stop dreaming and start doing. She knows who she is.